And we're live, guys.
There we go. I always wait for that red to pop up. Happy Sunday, everyone.
Happy
Happy
Sunday.
Sunday.
How's everyone doing?
Awesome.
Yep, doing well.
Doing well.
Yeah, no complaints about the snow.
Yeah.
Why? Why you complaining? This is when you work the most.
Yeah, but I got to go out and do it tomorrow, and I don't want to. But it's okay.
Okay.
Did it stop yet? I hadn't looked outside.
No, I just looked out there and the snowflakes are huge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so okay, Aaron, school us. The huger the snowflake, the better, the easier it is to get it up because it's fluffy, right?
Well, it depends. If it has a lot of moisture, it's going to stay there. And you have to add salt to it to make that brown slush.
Mhm.
And then you can push it to the side. But if you don't add salt to it, it gets hard packed. And that's where you get those little grooves down the middle of the road that everybody has to be down.
Yeah, stay in.
That's what's the problem. Yeah.
And then you always have those idiots that try to slide up the side of the wall. But okay.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of questions I could ask Aaron about
The snow.
the snow and just about what happens with that salt and why we can't do better roads. And then because we got to keep people employed, that's why the construction signs go up in the summer.
Mm.
So irritating. We'll talk about something else. But anyway, as you all see, we have a special guest today, author Kendra Dixson. Hey, Kendra.
Hi.
How are you?
Kendra?
I am well. I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for asking me to come on.
I'm so happy to have you here. We're going to introduce Kendra in a second. We just wanted to grab all the attention that we could before we went to our new intro.
Yay.
Because I had the pleasure of watching it behind the scenes because I wasn't on last week because my son was here playing hockey. And thank goodness for Aaron, who's going to be like our third or just really blend in with us now. So he was able to bring that balance because when I found out Cohen was coming to town, it was like deuces to everybody. He was like a local celebrity. So anyway.
Hey, and it's all good. That's your baby, and you know how that goes. You've been away.
I did. I missed you guys, but
I'm gonna tell you that last minute, girl. You know I was about to pass out, but it's all good. We'll talk about that later.
I know you were, but see, that's why Eric could just come in and just
he did
bring the calm. You know,
he really did.
And having Tim come on and talk about finances, and he's like been on the show before, so he was pretty good. He's pretty calm too. So
that was a good thing because I had already had experience with him, so it's not like he was a person I didn't know.
Yeah, and it's not like pulling teeth with him. You know how some of the guys got to literally like pull everything.
Oh, girl. Yeah, you be like, okay.
He was like, good. And before we even show our intro, I know you thanked him last week. So Tim, if you are listening now, I know Keela, thank you for starting the IRA for both of the twins. And what I really wanted you to talk about is what that does for their life going forward, because they're 18 and they have these accounts set up. And too bad I wasn't here because I wanted you to do like a deep dive as far as starting IRAs at the age of 18 and what that means for them when they're 20, 25. Because I tell you, Zara didn't look at hers like she's had it for a long time. I had it for a long time. And she was like, it's only up like $15. It was like, give it time. So
right.
Into us. Thank you for that, Tim. Okay, anyway, let's play that intro.
Okay, y'all ready?
Ready?
And the DJ.
Where are we going today? All the way there. Let's go. Where are we going today? 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 Where are we going today?
All the way there.
All the way
All the way
there.
through there.
That's
I love it. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so Kendra's here to talk about having no fear. But before we do that, I just need to know from each of you, What have you done in fear? And you don't have to go deep. It could just be something small. And do you regret it or are you happy that you did it?
Okay.
Who wants to go first? Kendra, want to go first because you're a guest?
I will.
Okay.
Okay, so it's time to fess up. I think I was maybe like about 11 or 12, and I played the clarinet, but I really wanted to play the flutes. My parents bought me a flute, and so that was my second instrument. And so at the church that I grew up in, we had a little concert, and I played with my cousin Deetra, and she played the flute also. I was so nervous. I couldn't get my breathing right, so I faked the entire piece. And so everyone congratulated us after, the concert. And I never told anybody. This is my first time publicly saying anything. Of course, I told my parents, so our family knows. And so down through the years, my father has called me faker. So
That's hilarious.
That is too funny.
What about you, Aaron?
Oh, absolutely, ladies first.
Oh, go ahead, Keela B.
Yikes. Okay, so one thing I could probably think of, because I don't know, I got a million stories, but this one, I remember one time when I was looking for houses, and it was so many people at this one particular house putting in their bids. I'm like, why would they schedule all of these people here to look at this house at one time? Anyway, I put a bid in this house because I got tired of looking at houses. And I'm like, it's so many people here. I'm just gonna put a bid in. Anyway, I really strictly did that out of the fear of just losing it. I didn't even really want that house. So I'm glad it didn't go through. But I was just trying to beat people because that competition made me feel anxious, like all those people walking around. Anyway, I'm glad that that did not go through because it was not the house that I wanted. So yeah, I did that strictly out of me basing it on I'm gonna lose out primarily on something that I didn't even really want. So yeah, that was something I did out of fear.
Well, good. I'm happy it worked out for you.
It did.
Because I don't know what happens when you put in an offer, then you renege on it.
Well, I didn't renege on it. They didn't accept it because
No,
they.
but what happens if they would have accepted it and you like, oh, I don't want it? What happens?
Oh, right. I don't know. I'm sure there are some type of consequences.
Like your name go on the blacklist.
Right.
Your name goes on the list. Okay, so we have viewers that are watching us now. So good afternoon to you guys. I want to know from you. So if you could just add in the chat before Aaron and I give ours. What did you do out of fear, and do you regret it or do you not regret it? So I did something out of fear, and this is in my professional career when we just learned the software application that we were training, and no one wanted to go first. And I just said, bump it. I'll go first and train it. I'll just be the guinea pig.
Okay.
And went out there and did it, and it went over very well because DPS staff, they're a hard audience to please, but it went over well, and I'm happy that I did because after doing that, it was nothing that came my way that I couldn't train. So I don't regret it at all. No regrets.
Cool. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aaron?
Well, when I was 10 years old, I used to walk home from school, and the same dude used to bully me. And he was so big. He was so towering over me. He was just intimidating. So he used to always like grab me, throw me on the ground, and just hit me till I was like crying. So I can't say I got tired of it. One day I'm walking home and here he comes, like, oh man. So he can always catch me when I run. So he caught me, and I was so scared I just threw a punch. I threw a punch and knocked him smooth out. And
Oh.
I was glad I did it, but I did it out of fear because I closed my eyes and just swung. And I opened my eyes and he was laid out on the grass.
Oh, and that was the
Nice.
start of something big, huh?
Yeah, then I walked down the street like
You're like 1, 2.
yeah,
Look, what do you call me because I choked that girl up?
the lady who choked the girl up.
Okay,
No.
so now we start calling you 1, 2 Aaron or knockout Aaron. Now I have a name for you. Well, I'm happy you conquered that bully, and I hope that he didn't mess with anyone else after you.
He did. He's dead. But hey.
What? Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, that.
Oh,
So,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did I leave out that he lived like his life like that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm
So
sorry.
Tiffany said, leaving a job without a backup plan and no regrets, it all worked out. That's what's up, Tiffany.
That's brave, Tiffany. That's pretty cool.
That's super
Yeah.
brave.
And then Doris said, I worked in HR, and the first time I had to terminate someone was a fearful event. I just knew I was going to lose my life that day.
That was
It was
fearful.
real. I
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I can see that. That's HR is like tough.
Yeah, it is tough.
They're like no nonsense people. Okay,
Hmm.
so we do appreciate you guys sharing your fears with us, and whether you regret it or not. We're going to jump right in and talk to, and Kendra, you put Kendra Dixon. I just knew for sure that you
Oh,
were Coach Dixon.
she did put, she
Yes,
can
I'm
change
still
it.
Coach Dixon.
you're Coach Dixon. Okay. Wait, let's see. Let me get crystals in. I have been through 3 company closures, but never feared I will not be without a job. I know that's real, Crystal.
That's what's up.
You are like a hard worker and loyal and everything. So, yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can get it about that glare. Kendra Dixon, no more fear. What can you build, birth, or accomplish once you divorce the fear? Kendra, tell
Okay.
us about this and introduce yourself to us, please.
Thank you so much, Tanya.
You're
So I'm
welcome.
Kendra Dixon, aka Coach Dixon, and by trade, I am a holistic psychotherapist.
Hmm.
So I see people privately, and right now it's basically online.
Okay.
And I also recently started a life coaching service, and so that's pretty much online as well. So just really putting my skills to use and wanted to help people. So I wanted to start the life learning or the life coaching business because a lot of people, I figured if I could reach you 5 or 10 years before you come down with the diagnosis, let's work through any situations that you're encountering before it becomes a disorder and before
Hmm.
you have to, have intense therapy or even take medications.
Okay.
Okay. So you said holistic.
Yes.
So that means you holistic is you prescribe marijuana.
Oh, no. Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
we gotta be clear here because
I had to tease you just a little bit because or just really
Absolutely.
or
Okay.
really tease that out because people be like, let me call Kendra because she said holistic.
holistic, exactly.
Let me get
Oh.
up with Kendra.
All righty. So I didn't mention, but I'm also a psychiatric social worker. So I have a full-time job and I work for a local hospital. So a lot of patients are taking some major psychotropic medications.
Okay.
So in my private business, I have seen where there's an overutilization of medications. And so I would like to try to work with people who do not need medications or need very minimal medication.
Okay.
So we try to work through it because what happens is, and I'm not saying that all people shouldn't take medications, that's a personal decision. But working through these life issues is hard. And I find that sometimes people just want the medications to mask the symptoms and the problems when really you have to just deal with them head on. So there's nothing wrong with taking medications. That's not a sin. If you need medications, go ahead and take it. But my clients that come to me, they tend to prefer not to take medications and they want to just get into the trenches and deal with it and work through it.
Right. Right.
So, but no, I do not prescribe marijuana. I'm not a medical doctor. I can diagnose as far as diagnosed disorders, but I can't prescribe any medications.
Okay.
Okay, got you. So thanks for clearing that up because I could see your client list building up just from that little thing you said.
I'm glad you asked that question. Thanks for the clarification.
So, okay, so you wrote this book, No More Fear. What led you to write No More Fear? You want to tell us a little bit about your journey?
I sure will.
Mhm.
So I have pretty much lived my life full of fear. I didn't realize that's what I was doing. I just felt like, oh, I'm shy. I'm a quiet person. But really, it was fear. So when I went through the School of Social Work and had to work through a lot of these concepts, I started not really diagnosing myself, but just kind of locating where am I at and looking at the experiences that I've had. And I'm like, okay. So it just really allowed me to see with the floodlight, my life, and to be able to see it from a third person point of view. And I thought, wow, I didn't realize that I had been hiding in fear,
Mm,
literally
Okay.
hiding in plain daylight.
mhm,
So I'm in a
Wow.
group of, I'm in a room full of people. I'm smiling, I'm pleasant, but I'm very reserved. I have very
Mhm.
little to say. And what I do share with you is very superficial because
mm,
Okay.
I'm protecting myself.
Mhm.
I really don't trust
Mhm.
people,
Mm.
but I'm not letting you know that.
Got you.
So I wrote the book. It helped me, and I figured there are other people in the situation. And the more,
Definitely.
yes, and the more I studied neuroscience and other sciences, fear really opens the door up to anxiety,
Mhm.
depression, and also medical problems.
mm,
Like think
Mhm.
about a person that worries and worries and worries. A lot of times they come down with
Hurt.
oh shoot, well yeah, I thought an ulcer. That's what it is.
Yep.
Sometimes they develop ulcers.
Mhm.
Fear is real, and it can manifest physical
Mhm.
problems in your body.
mhm,
Wow.
mm.
So before you realized, because you said you've been living with fear like your whole life, right? So before you realized what you were dealing with, did you have any illnesses manifest in your body because of it, or how was your body attacked, and where are you now?
That's a good question. So in hindsight, looking back, when I was an adolescent, I used to just sweat profusely.
Mm,
Mhm.
My heart would just like palpitate, my hands would sweat, and I just, was just nervous. And I
mhm,
would always sit in the back, would hope that the teacher would not call on me. So I was just hiding, very
mhm,
insecure,
Mm.
very insecure. And a
Mm.
lot of people that know me, some people may have figured that out. I don't know. Most people say, I can't believe that you always were so confident. And yeah, but I did a good job of covering that up.
Mhm.
And that covering it up could be stressful too.
It can
So
be.
yeah, so like here's Kendra. I'm learning something new about you, and I've known you for what, 23, 24 years. You were a cheerleader in high school. So how can you say that you've been fearful your whole life, but you were like a cheerleader, like out there cheerleading,
Yes.
cheering the team on? Mm-hmm.
So I think it would come and go, right? I would build up confidence, and then a negative situation would take place, and then I would kind of retreat. So
Mhm.
my earliest memory of being shy is like when we'd have like recitations at the old church, and we'd have like a speech for Christmas or Easter. I would learn the speech, and when it was time to say it, I wouldn't say it. My parents would walk up to the front with me. They wouldn't say it. I would cry. So I remember being just very shy. And then I started building confidence because children really don't know about fear; they learn it.
Mhm.
And then I had a situation where, well, when I was like about 12 or 13, I thought I was ugly.
mm,
Mhm.
And I saw like really, really pretty girls, and I thought, I just felt so insecure. So
mm,
no
Mhm.
one told me I was ugly.
Right.
I just, started comparing myself to others.
Yep.
That is the
Mhm.
danger in comparing yourself,
It really is.
right? You
It's
start feeling insignificant, insecure.
Mhm.
mm,
And so I convinced myself of this.
mm. Yeah.
So it became an issue. And then, throughout high school, see, I really enjoyed cheerleading. So that was something I really wanted to do. So I was
Mhm,
able to step outside of that insecurity box, and I did that. I was very good at it. So whatever
mhm.
I'm good at, it seems like the fear leaves in that area,
Yeah.
but
Mm.
it's still prevalent in other areas.
Mhm,
And it could be too that it was cheering is like a team sport.
Yes.
Mhm.
So you weren't out there by yourself. So when you were playing the clarinet, was it just you and Dee Dee? Who was it? You and
We-
Deidre by yourselves?
Yes.
mm.
Kendra, like,
I couldn't get my breathing right. I was just like, oh no. Because when you're playing the flute, if you can't breathe in right, you're going to, So I just had
Yeah.
to take it.
I'm surprised they didn't know. They were probably like, wow, they're really in sync. They really got this going. They sound like they're one voice.
girl, that makes me think of Angel did that same thing, Kendra, my daughter, and her teacher told them to stand up to play this classical piece. And so my dad was so proud. He was like, "Look at my daughter, my granddaughter. She know." Because he was like, "Don't be a surprise if all of your kids don't stand up because they all don't know this." Angel stood up. My dad is over there rooting. He is like, "Oh, she's standing up. There's only a few that know this." So when my dad greeted her afterwards, she was like, "Oh, granddad, I didn't know how to play that. It's called fake it till you make she was like, I wasn't about to be sitting down so people can think I didn't know that song."
Oh, Lord. So that's definitely not shy and not fear. That's just doing what you
Yeah.
do.
Girl, that's just crazy.
That's funny. So
So,
let's see. Let me pick
I
up
want
on
to
some of
I
these.
want to say one more thing.
Okay.
And then I had a situation where when I went to school, I went to the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor.
Go green.
Go blue. But anyway, my first year, I had a very, very difficult situation. My roommate called me a nigger,
mm,
Wow.
porch monkey, a jigaboo. And so I was just like, so although I felt like I had overcome that, I really hadn't. And I
mhm,
carried that for years. And
Wow.
so I kind of retreated within myself, found myself like stuttering, just sweating, quiet, hiding in the background. So it was terrible. And then
mm.
I started attracting other people who were insecure.
Mm,
Wow.
that is.
Wow.
Ooh, we have to talk about that too. That's a
Yeah.
thing. That's a thing.
No, go
Mhm,
ahead, Kayla. What?
I mean, because you do like-minded when you are like that, you
Mm-hmm.
don't realize you think that the circle is full of confidence because they may do different things. Like this person may be outgoing in this area, and you're like, oh, that's really confidence. But then when you really start to sit back and kind of get to know people, even yourself, you're
mhm,
like, they're really doing that because they're really not as confident as
Mm-hmm.
they seem.
mhm,
So even though they are out in the front all the time and kind of it's really not confidence.
mhm,
Sometimes it's just I need that attention. You know
mm,
what I mean? And it's an insecurity. And they do attract like-minded people. But I do know when you start to heal,
Mm-hmm.
those people that were surrounded, they can't handle it anymore. So they start falling off because they're like, well, who do you think you are? You
mm,
know, whatever. And it's you start seeing things from a different mindset.
mm.
That is very true. You
Yeah,
attract those type of people.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Either they drop off or join you. Go ahead,
Mhm.
Aaron.
so
Mm-hmm.
Coach Dixon, you may have said this already, but maybe you can reiterate it deeper. What was your turning point? Because I mean, I heard a lot of the things that you said, and those things will definitely bring anxiety, like being called all those racial things, and and thinking that you were ugly. Because I have never had that problem. But I wanted to say that
That was how
what
many once? I'm
That's
tallying
no,
it.
Tanya, that's two so far.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Aaron.
got one more. So anyway, what was your turning point? Where was the point where you decided I'm never going back to fear? What happened to make you that turning point?
Yeah, so I've had down through the years several layers or several opportunities to peel another layer back. So I would say when I went through a divorce
Mm-hmm.
back in 2003,
Mm-hmm.
that helped me to come out of my shell. I had like a transformational epiphany experience with God,
Mm-hmm.
got it all together. Because I think up until that point, I was really riding on my parents' faith and coattails, not realizing it. I mean, I knew God for myself, but I really didn't know how to dig in for myself, and it wasn't a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
But once I aligned myself with God and I connected with Him on the level that I needed to on a personal basis, He healed me. But I
Mm-hmm.
still had now rough edges.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm raising my child, I'm seeing some things, right? Because as a parent, you're able to see yourself and your child. It's okay. I realize I have fear, but I'm still not really processing.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of continued down through the years, just layers and layers. And especially when I went into the School of Social Work,
Mm-hmm.
that was when I was able to really start analyzing myself and realize, okay, you got some issues. Let's get it together before you start providing therapy for people.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
So that was really transformational as well. So I
Mm,
think it's been a series of just getting closer to God down through the years. And the more layers I peeled back, the more insight that I had, and my my eyesight was
Mm-hmm.
illuminated. And then I
mm,
could see, man, you're operating from fear, and this isn't good.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
right,
Right.
right.
And you know what? I was average. Like I knew people would compliment me and say, you speak well, you do this. And I'm thinking,
Mm,
you're going to do this. I'm like, no, I'm not. So I was always saying what I couldn't do. I
Right.
was
mhm,
always looking at the negative. And so I convinced myself. But when I stopped doing that, I realized, you got to go ahead and be who God made you to be.
Exactly.
mhm,
And so
Exactly.
now I don't feel like I'm average. I don't feel
mm,
like I'm less than. I
mm,
know that I'm worthy. I know
mm,
that I have a lot to offer. I'm not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
but I'm enjoying the journey and I'm learning as I go. And I'm having fun and I can laugh at myself.
Yeah.
And I even want to say to that, coming out of that part of the fear, trying to come into what I know everybody say it's cliche, it's know your worth, know your worth, know your worth. But when you really do start to know your worth, you always gonna have those people that try to still set you back. Like, oh, don't think you all that. Okay. So you
Mhm.
did that one little thing. Okay. So you did it. And you have to remind yourself that that is still just another negative voice and you have to keep pushing it. So it's always a constant thing to stay out to not go back in that rut. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
That's
Yeah.
right. And one thing that helped me is that when I realized that my worth comes from God,
Mhm.
I'm made
Exactly.
in his image and in his likeness.
Right.
It's established.
Mm-hmm.
Can't take away from it. I can't even add
Period.
to it as a person.
Mm-hmm.
When I
Period.
realize that, I'm good. So
Mm-hmm.
whether you like me or not, that's okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
I know
That's
who I am.
exactly. That's why I
Yeah.
posted that thing. Have the courage to be disliked because you will be
Mm-hmm.
disliked.
Mm-hmm.
That's
But I
true.
like myself and I'm comfortable with who I am.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
can I give I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, no, no. Go ahead,
Can I
Aaron.
give a practical example? Because this is a young guy that works with me, and I mentioned this on the financial podcast. He's so afraid of courtrooms, and he's deathly afraid of them because every time he goes in, he gets the short end of the stick. So he gives up a lot to not go, i.e., he has some children, and he's entitled to put them on his taxes and all of that. So he just says, "No, I don't want to do it because I'm scared, man. I don't want to go on those doors." What would you say to him? Or is that something that you can connect to or anything that can help him?
Now, specifically, what is he afraid of again?
Well, he has two children, and the mother gets everything. She gets
Okay.
child support, she gets stimulus checks when we got them, and she gets to put them on her taxes and not his. But he has the right to, you know,
I guess
run.
Aaron didn't think Tim's answer was good enough.
No, no, that was the financial part. That was the financial part. Here's the fear part that I'm asking her.
Okay.
Well, he said he's definitely afraid to go in there because he's been raked over the coals. What would you say to him about that fear?
Wow, that's pretty tough.
Hmm.
Um, does he have a trusted person that he can speak with?
I'm not sure about
Because
that.
a lot of times when people have a lot of fear,
Hmm.
they're holding it to themselves. They don't have anyone to talk to.
Hmm.
And so if you have a friend or even like a life coach or a therapist, you can process that with. Maybe in time he'll have the courage to move forward or step forward, but it's really hard as a personal decision. I think he really needs to talk to someone because sometimes when
Definitely.
you talk to people and you hear yourself saying it out loud, you're like, I can't believe I just said that. Is that the
Mhm.
way I'm really thinking? And maybe he hasn't connected his thought process yet and
Hmm.
really heard himself out loud to hear how he's kind of cheating himself out of what he deserves to have.
Right.
Hmm. Right. Hmm.
So he's just not, it sounds like he's just not ready, but maybe if he has the right person in his life to try to, vent that through,
Yeah.
he may see it within time.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So I want to circle back to when you guys were talking about negative thoughts.
Mhm.
So in Kendra's book, Coach Dixon's book, she has like these awesome acronyms. And one is PETS, positive empowering thoughts. And when you guys were talking about the negative thoughts, you call those automatic negative thoughts, and those are ants. So that's what I'm going to suggest that you pick up the book, because in the book, Coach Dixon gives like examples of what ants are. And one of them is like all or nothing thinking. And I don't want to
Mm.
give it away too much, but Kendra, can you like pick one of these things that you have for ants and just give us like a little taste of what you mean by that?
Okay. Well, the black and white thinking is a really good one to pick up with.
Mm-hmm.
So the example I give in the book very similarly is, I failed the math test. And because I failed the math test, I'm going to fail my English test.
Mm.
So it's just really, not being able to see what you're experiencing separately from other experiences. They just all blend in. If it happened here, it's got to
Understand.
happen over here.
Mm.
Right. Versus saying, well, maybe I didn't pass the math test, but I've really studied hard for the English test. So I'm hopeful that maybe I'll do better.
Okay.
Right. So this is what I like to really explain this part. When we see ourselves as people, we have to think about the core person. We are an internal person, and then we experience life and people. They are externals. It is so easy to get confused with, okay, this is what happened to me, or this is what they said to me, or they were angry with me. So now I'm going to internalize their thoughts or their anger, and somehow, it makes me feel bad. And so when really we should just look at people as being people. Angry, she was frustrated. I wonder what's happening in her day.
Exactly.
Because I was fine before I ran into her.
Exactly.
And so just realizing that, well, you know what? She's not having the best day. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and keep it moving. So, yeah, I'll give you a really quick example. The book that I have, it's not my book, but it's a self-esteem book. So 2 employees are walking down the hallway, and the boss is walking toward them. He's stomping. He's mad. Employee A says, I wonder if he's mad at the front desk staff again. The other employee says, what did I do wrong? Do you see the different responses to that boss that was angry? So one person realized it's just him. He's going through something. He'll be okay to run. The other person's like, what did I do wrong? I must not be, a good employee. Different thought processes. So when we experience life, the best way to look at it as is, they said this, they did that. What can I learn from this experience?
Right.
How can I make it or make me better? Not what's wrong with me. What did I do wrong?
Right. That's interesting.
You're just all deep. Get it.
I know. And it's just so easy to take things so personal. And I think sometimes we have to literally remember that other people deal with issues just like we do, because we all want to pass when it's us. But when it's somebody else, it's like, oh no, I'm gonna just cut her off because she did X, Y, and Z. But it's like, okay, they have issues too. So what's the issue? And that's why I'm not a fan of people letting that whole wave that came through just let people go so quick, especially if it's people you care about. I'm not just talking about random people. I mean, we don't have to see those people again, but a true friend, you're gonna want to know that they're okay, because if you know somebody sincerely, okay, something is happening, because she don't typically act like this, you know what I'm saying, or he don't typically act like this. So instead of being offended, because it's so easy to do that, then we should get down to the bottom of what it is before we allow ourselves to go there. Is what I'm saying, because it's very easy to take things so personal.
It is. And when we're operating from a platform of fear, you tend to protect yourself.
Right.
And when you do, you push people away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you wonder, well, why don't people want to hang around me? Well, it's not that you're not good enough, but you're like pushing people away.
Exactly.
You're cutting them off.
It's true.
Wow.
Yeah. And Patsy, she's also a therapist, and she's saying the fear of people pleasing is a big one. And she's thanking God that she's delivered from that daily.
Yes, absolutely.
Just want to just be that yes person for everyone, or pleasing everyone, just doing things, because you'll run yourself in the ground and make yourself.
You definitely will.
Please other people.
You definitely will. And like my grandmother used to say, people pleasers, everybody is happy but you. And I'm not going to be the one that's not happy. And that's the truth.
And I think that comes too with time. It has nothing to do with age. It's just repetition of pleasing people, and you finally just realize, like, I don't have to do this anymore.
Exactly.
There's no. So for the ants, the automatic negative thoughts, Coach Kendra gives us like 12 different examples of what it is. And the one that I'm liking this mind reading. Because we do that so often, because we think that we know someone just by reading their body language.
We do.
And we interpret how their body language, how it's affecting us. So can you talk about that one a little bit? Then we're going to move on.
Yeah, so I won't go too much into the mind reading. the details.
Okay.
But I will say this. Just one second. You know, you guys, I'm excited, right?
That's
um,
okay. Look, at least you're getting your thoughts together
okay.
because sometimes people be just saying whatever.
Uh-huh.
We don't want people to just say whatever.
No, no. Um, I guess what I'm thinking about the mind reading is when you're looking at the body language. If you just ask that person one or two follow-up questions, like, what
Mhm.
did you mean by that? Or,
Right.
this is what I heard you say. This is what I thought you meant.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe like 9 times out of 10, you'll realize that you misinterpreted what they were
Yeah.
saying or what they were,
Mhm.
how they were reacting to you. And you'll find out that they weren't thinking what you were thinking at all.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
just think how many relationships are dissolved because of miscommunications and
Mhm.
Tons.
A
Yeah.
ton, yeah.
Tons
Yeah.
of them.
And then
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking of like one, people, say that when you have your arms folded, you're basically closing someone off.
Mhm.
And that's not necessarily true because if you're around me, I'm having my
I
arms
was just getting ready to
folded.
say that. Ty, you always have your arms folded.
I know because I'm cold. That's me tucking my hands in. It has nothing to do. So it's just like reading, someone else's intentions and getting it wrong, than rather just asking, like, why are
Right.
you so
that's
closed off? Sweetie, I'm not closed off. I'm just cold again.
Right.
Okay. So another part of your book, which is so like, what I like is like this thought journal where you give like a little prompt and then you can like dispel some of the negative, automatic negative thoughts that you have. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
yes.
definitely. Want to talk about that or no?
Yeah, oh, definitely. I can talk about that. I'll give you the example.
Okay.
And because this is happening, right? I heard Google and also Amazon are laying off a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Just want to pray for those families, that they get the help they
Twitter.
need. Yeah, and Twitter.
Twitter as
Really? What's
well.
going on? I did not know that.
Bro, they letting
Yeah.
them go by the droves. It's sad too.
Yeah, these huge layoffs. So the
Mhm.
example I give in my book, and I'm reading it, it says, I hate myself because I lost my job due to the company going bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
And then the automatic negative thought that someone may have is, well, that was the automatic negative thought, right? I
Mhm.
hate myself. So that's personalization, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're blaming yourself, something that's not your fault, but you're blaming yourself. It's all or nothing thinking. You're not even thinking that, something else could be going on, but why are you hating yourself? Like you didn't
Right.
cause it.
Right.
And it's emotional reasoning. And so I always ask people, just try to look at, like, when did this happen? Where were you? Who were you around? Like, were you laying in the bed at night, or was it first thing in the morning when you had these thoughts?
Mhm.
Because a lot of times, whatever we're thinking about at night, if we don't write down those thoughts or have a positive thought or say a prayer or go over a scripture, we're going to wake up that next morning with that same negative thought.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just going to continue into the next day.
Yeah.
And so, how to replace that? The example that I give is, okay, I'm frustrated, probably mad about the company going bankrupt, but I will find another job. I will not give up.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not lying to yourself. You're not in denial, but you're
Just
giving yourself some hope.
right.
Yeah. Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're not blaming yourself.
Mhm.
Right.
And it's so important too. And I've given this example before. You can't have a negative thought and combat it with another negative thought because
Mm-hmm.
that is the sign of like going crazy and just insane.
Right.
When you have a negative thought, it's so important to speak God's word over it out
Mm-hmm.
loud. So then that way you're not warring within yourself,
Right.
because that's another way you could also be sick.
And
Yeah.
that's so easy to do too. And
Mhm.
like you say, Tanya, you just have to take those positive thoughts in the word of God and just keep fighting. And I think sometimes people just don't realize that it's a continual thing. Like it just don't stop today.
No.
Mm-hmm.
It's every day. And then what's more, I don't want to say amazing like in a good way, but it's just more amazing to know that everybody deals with it. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So you're not alone by yourself. And like you were saying, Kendra, about to him about the young man, finding someone you can trust in. And I think Tanya, she have always said this since day one of our show of having a person you can bounce off of. I don't know how you put it, Tanya, but
Yeah, it's like having someone that you could just tell your low down dirty things too. And that person's not going to be like, oh, that's just too
Mm.
bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally agree with you. But somebody that's going to keep it real with you
Mm-hmm.
and let you have your minute of rolling around on the floor.
Right.
And then
Right.
it's time to get up, and that person should be able to pour into your life. And
Mhm.
that's the same with like the guy that you've been talking about, Aaron. I'm sure you're that for him, but he
Mhm.
may need someone more of his age or maybe someone on his
Right.
level per se.
Right.
Like scoop him up and tell him,
Mhm.
to
So
have to where you lack passion, you need somebody to have passion,
Yes.
hmm
Yeah.
for you,
hmm
Yeah.
that is so
your
true.
best interest in
Mhm.
her.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Coach Dixon, let me ask this.
Uh-huh.
So, I wondered, in your book, do you talk about, because the word says that spirit is fear is a spirit. Do you attack it from that angle, or do you bring it down to a practical level to let people know that it's a spirit?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that question. I do right up front. I tell you that it is a spirit, it's a spiritual problem. And so it has to be dealt with the spirit. And
Mm-hmm.
so I introduced Jesus as the solution, the ultimate solution, to be able to show the reader why you should line up with God.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have these possibilities and suggestions that bombard you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Some are coming from the enemy, from Satan, and some are coming from God.
Right.
So being able to discern where you're getting those thoughts from and
Mm-hmm.
being able to refute the ones that are negative and say, heck no, I'm not going this way. I'm going with God's way. So I
Mm-hmm.
always tell my clients, you have two choices in life. You can either go left or right. You can
Mm-hmm.
say yes or no. And I know that sounds so basic, right? So elementary.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are operating from fear, you're not thinking logically, you're
Mm-mm.
emotional,
Mm-mm.
you're illogical, and your prefrontal cortex shuts down. It is hard to process and see things as they really are.
Right.
You see life as it seems or the way it feels, but not as it really is.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, so I do tell people right away. And the reason why I do that is because we have so many social workers, psychologists, and counselors in this country and in the
Mm-hmm.
world.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to give people an opportunity to integrate their faith, if that's a choice that they want to make, and to be able to show them from the Word of God. So, yes, I attack it from a spiritual standpoint, but I give you practical applications and strategies because we do live in this life, right? And so we've got
Right.
to be able to walk out our life and to be able to get along with other people. And
Mm-hmm.
so I combine both. And I think I did a really good job of keeping it very balanced.
Mm-hmm.
You did, because it does, Aaron, you were asking, she does have is a lot of scripture in here.
Mm-hmm.
But the plus about it is, some places you go where you be like, oh, I'm just so scared. And you just immediately start getting beat up by a Christian.
Oh,
Oh, no,
girl.
the spirit of fear. Yeah. Pinterest book is not like
Mm-hmm.
that. You don't feel beat up, or you don't feel woe was me, or like I'm on the rocket straight to hell
Or
because
condemned.
Right.
or condemned, or yeah, none of that. It's no condemnation.
And that's the last thing as somebody who's operating in fear needs is confrontation. Just
Uh-huh.
it's just like it's pushing them back deeper in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
but they're not thinking that way. They're thinking they're going in with the word, and they think
mhm.
that they just gonna give it to you, and you just like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now
Mhm.
you just set me back some steps.
I
Mhm.
know. Because it could be too much, because that's overwhelming too. Because if you can't quote the same amount of scripture that somebody coming at you, you
Yeah.
just feel like, oh, I'm really doomed now.
Mhm.
So yeah, so no, the book is not like that at all.
Tanya, which made me think of another incident where I had like some fear takeover. This girl she was such a good person. Like she prayed all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I say this girl could pray, like I used to be like, I mean, who be praying for ants and who be praying for like stuff like that? Like it was just weird, right? I mean, but she could pray good. And I would be like, I'm gonna go first because I don't want to pray behind her, right? Because he would pray so good. But I remember sharing that story with my dad, and my dad was like, everybody prayer life is different, and whatever you pray for is going to be something that somebody else need. So stop looking at how she pray and
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
just pray to God the way that you pray to God. And I just remember thinking every time we were in that huddle, like I don't want to pray behind her.
Oh my goodness! Like you said huddle. You talking about one of the ushers?
No, but this was at a different church though. But
Okay.
yes, it was
Okay.
like that though.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you feel like yours is just like it's just
Basic.
it's like fan in the smoke. But when they
Mhm.
pray, they like bringing down the fire.
Girl, you like, geez, the heavens done open. God did put his hand down, and you like, my prayer was basic. Now I lay me down to sleep. But I'm just
Pray the Lord was funny.
Oh.
oh, but
You
this was
know,
good,
that
Kendra.
was
I
so
mean,
funny.
is was there anything else in the journal? Like, do we get to write in the journal part?
Yeah,
Okay.
and you can make copies if you need to. Yes, I have lines in there.
Yep, it's
Okay.
nice. You probably can't see from the glare.
Mhm.
And another good thing about this is the self-care exercises. Now you list 24, and I don't want to give any of them away, but they are all just so good. So I'll just tell you basically exercising,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
mealtime,
Mm.
Mhm.
which if you can kind of, you know,
Mm-hmm.
mealtime can be real dangerous depending on if you're emotionally eating, but
Mhm.
Right, right.
put down that cell phone.
No.
Yes.
Put
That's
down that cell phone. Can you expound on that, please, Kendra?
Absolutely. So you're
Mhm.
talking about my self-care strategies.
Mhm.
And so optimal health includes the spirit, mind, and body. So we've talked about the spirit, and then the mind. We've talked about that a little bit as well. And Keela mentioned that as well. Is when you talk about casting out those imaginations
mm-hmm.
and replacing those negative thoughts with power
Mhm.
positive thoughts. That's what
Mhm.
we're talking about. And then also physically. So Tanya mentioned getting your rest, eating, because when you don't feel good, you can't process.
Mhm.
That is so true.
And your vision as far as for life, it's distorted.
Mhm.
And a lot of clients who, and I'm not saying that because you have fear, you have a mental disorder, but I am saying this. A lot of my clients who do have disorders, when
Mm-hmm.
they don't get their rest, they start decompensating. It makes it
Mm-hmm.
worse. So we want people to get their rest, eat properly, because when you don't eat your fruits, vegetables, you're not making enough of the hormones in your body, like the serotonin and the dopamine. And a
Mhm.
lot of your that is made in the gut as well as in the brain.
Mm.
So if you don't have enough of that, you feel depressed,
I
you
gotta
feel
get right.
anxious,
Mm.
right? So it does affect you. Eating a lot of junk food over time, it does make you feel crappy.
It
And
does.
Mhm.
sometimes people can't figure out, well, why am I feeling down or bad? It's
Mhm.
because look at your gut health.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those are so true in exercising, just keeping your body moving, whether it's just dancing around the house, walking up and down the stairs, or just sitting in the chair and moving.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You got to do something that helps those endorphins to flow. It helps to elevate your mood. And
Mhm.
then as we get older, especially women like 50 and older,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're like menopausal or postmenopausal.
Mm-hmm.
And I see my friend is on the chat, Sarah, and I'm getting this from her because she read this book about women over 50. And a lot of us feel stiff, right? Our joints are hurting because we're not making enough,
Yeah.
we're making less estrogen, we have fewer hormones. And
Mm-hmm.
so our legs are not, our joints are not lubricated. So it
Mhm.
hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just really take care of yourself. Follow up with your annual primary care physician visit.
Yes, please do.
Yes, go to your OB-GYN. And if you realize you have symptoms that last at least 2 weeks or longer, I don't care what they are. Your
Mhm.
back is hurting. Follow up. Take
Mhm.
good care of yourself.
Mhm.
Yes. And
Yeah.
you know, the older we get, and it's and I mean men too, Aaron, you're not left out. But women, like you said, your OBG, yeah.
OBGYN.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Getting your mammograms and just having all of those things checked because you don't want to find out later. At one point in time, I'm like, they say you have to wait till 50 to get this done. And they're like, but the states say we can start at 45. I'm like, well, then I'll wait to 50. You're not about to keep bothering me with this stuff, but I think it is so important to stay connected with
Mhm.
your health because you stay on top of things. And like you say, if things are festering up because of other things, then you can stay on top of what's happening
Mhm.
and get ahead of it. Get ahead of
Mhm.
it,
That's
like
true.
you said, stand ahead of it. You try to get your clients to stay ahead
Mhm.
before they get diagnosed worse. I think that is so important.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And let's not forget one of the simplest things that we could do when we wake up in the morning. If you're going to be home for a while, open up those blinds and let that sun in because
Hmm.
Mhm.
that changes the mood so quick.
Mhm.
Girl, you are not lying.
So
Mhm.
quick. Let the sun
Yes.
in.
So,
And I
Coach,
need light.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Dixon, how do we get your book?
Very good question. Thank you. So if you go to my website, coachdixon.podia.com, and you spell Podia, Podia. So coachdixon.podia.com. Subscribe to me, subscribe, and then I'll send you the information because right now the book is sold out. The soft cover is.
Mhm.
Um, Thank you. But now the ebook version is available and you can download that for $7.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What is it one more time?
CoachDixon.podia.com.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. And so we'll put it up. Keela's probably gonna put it up in there it is. Yep. So it's
Okay,
in the
thank
chat
you.
if you're watching. And Keela, not Keela, Kendra, we do ask that you visit the page, our all the way there page, because there's going to be people on there that's watching it later commenting, and
Mhm.
you'll
Oh,
be able to talk more about it. But it has been such a pleasure
It has
talking
been.
to
This
you.
was
Yeah.
good.
Seriously, it's
thank
like it's
you.
so good to learn about people that you feel like and I've been knowing you for 24, 25 years, and I've been married for 23. And so it's been a real pleasure. Does anyone have any parting words? And Kendra, we're gonna save you for last.
Mhm.
Anyone have anything they want to say?
I think the one thing that kind of resonates with me is when she was talking about the comparison. And I know sometimes we all go on social media, and even though we don't think we do, you are reading people's time reels all day, and it's like, oh man, they are living the life. Here I am, I got to go to work 9 to 5. Why we can't be doing this, and why we not doing that? And
Mhm.
the reality of it is everybody posts highlight reels. Nobody is posting all of their
Right.
negative stuff that is
Right.
happening behind the scenes. Nobody is posting that at night they are crying. No one is posting that. So what I'm saying is do not compare anything. And that's why with the social media thing, stepping back from social media, sometimes I know Aaron's been getting on me a lot about the social media thing at night, putting the phone down. So I've been trying to do that a lot because it interrupts my sleep. So just stay true and connected to you and just disconnect sometime from that so you don't have that happen. That's all
Mhm.
my parting words are.
Mhm.
That's good.
My parting words are I think your book follows the same lines as Michael Jordan's uh, Hall of Fame speech. His last line was fear, like limitations, are often um, uh, I just lost the word, illusions.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear you say that. I'm hearing that same theme come through when you talk about fighting against this. Replace this negative thought with a positive thought. Write down this, and then listen to how you say. Did I really say that? So that follows the same lines. I don't like to quote Michael Jordan. I don't really care about Michael Jordan, but that resident that was like really that really stayed with me when he said
Mhm.
that. And I see the same patterns in your book. So I'm definitely going to go to the page and get my book.
Oh, thank you, Aaron.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. I enjoying it.
Thank
Um,
you.
Mine is faith over fear every single time. Faith over fear every single time. And and if you grab the book, Coach Dixon will walk you through what your ants are. Like, because you have to call things out before you can even know that you have to put them under your feet. You can't live in denial. We all
Right,
probably have
exactly.
some kind of negative thoughts.
Yep.
It's best to get them on out there so that you could deal with them. So the book helps you to do that, and it gives you some pets, which are positive, empowering thoughts. If you like to journal, you could journal through this book. And there are 24 exercises that you could do for your self care. So before Coach Dixon, speaks, I just wanted to challenge all of you guys to best $7 that you will ever spend on this ebook, learning how to live with no more fear. So I'm going to suggest that you do that as a challenge. Scrape up those coins, get it together, get this book. Um, and it's not one of those that you feel like, oh my goodness, I have to, it's too much to do. Nope, it's concise and straight to the point.
Mhm.
So I challenge you to get the book.
Okay, that's the challenge this
That's
week.
the challenge. Go ahead,
Okay.
Kendra. Coach Dixon, close us out.
Okay, thank you so much. So, your unseen thoughts combined with your spoken words create tangible consequences, which is your reality. So,
Mm.
what you believe, speak, and expect is exactly what you'll get.
Mm,
So be
okay.
careful what you think and be careful what you say.
Yeah, because our words have so much power. So
Right.
much
I
power.
like they really do.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for tuning
Thank
in.
you.
Enjoy. Have a good week. Be
Have an
safe.
awesome week,
You too.
everybody.
No fear, or just do like 1, 2, like Aaron did that. Boom. Just knock it out. Knock it out.
Nope, no more fear.
You gonna call him what is it? 1, 2, what is it? 1, 2.
1, 2.
All right, look, I work with some fighters on the panel. I'm like Michael Jackson. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Sorry. I'm just
He's a shooter.
Oh, well, that's true, but okay. You guys have an awesome week. Thank you, Kendra. It was
Thank you.
awesome.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
everyone for
Thank
tuning
you.
in.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.